Okay,
Still catching up.
we are ready to go. Jason Fleeman here with Jason Fleeman Properties. I have to remember not to yell because the videographer, Social Pro Video, gets mad at me when I yell. But Jason Fleeman Properties. I am here with Cheryl Capelli with Family Mortgage Team.
Yep, the Family Mortgage Team.
And she is the leader one
That's right.
of
Exactly.
Family Mortgage Team.
Yep.
So before we kind of get into how we met, tell me a little bit about Family Mortgage Team and why you are leader number one.
Okay, well, so the Family Mortgage Team is a local Atlanta lender. We do happen to be licensed in a couple other states, but our home state is Georgia. We've been in the same location and serving the greater Marietta area since 1999. So
Back in the last century.
That's right, exactly. And I've been there since 2005.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I've been there a long time. I've really enjoyed what I do with them. My role is very cool right now. It's business development. So I get to do a lot of fun things like this, which is amazing.
Yep.
But the reason that I love working with the Family Mortgage Team is our goal of education. Too many people go through this process with way too many questions and they don't understand what's going on in the mortgage process, much less understand any of the fees that are charged. And so that's really our goal, is to make sure everybody's as educated as possible.
Those fees add up really, really quick.
Yep.
So you got the lender fees, you got the attorney fees, you got the commission fees.
Right.
You got so much going on that you're like, all right, I thought the house was $475.
Right. Well, and a lot of people don't understand that there are closing costs and a down payment. Those are two separate things.
Yep. So do you want to tell you a little bit about the house? So this house is in Powder Springs, 4935 Crider Creek Cove. It is listed for $475. That's about 2,600 square feet with an unfinished basement. So we got new carpet in here. We got new paint in here. I mean, it's beautiful. It's got over half an acre. Again, the unfinished basement, probably another 1,300 square feet down there.
Yeah, I haven't gone down there yet, but I have been upstairs, and the room upstairs is amazing. So, four bedrooms up there, right?
4 bedrooms up there. So you've been up there. What are some things that up there?
Well, so I'm a girl, right?
Okay.
So
Yep.
the master bedroom closet. And I think it's a great idea to leave them out so that whoever comes in can then do their own.
I agree.
Right. And make sure they get it ready for themselves and their clothes and their family. So
okay. So what else? What else kind of popped out on you?
Awesome size of the bathroom upstairs.
Okay.
I do like that there's kind of an extra bedroom that's kind of by itself.
Yep. Over in the corner.
Over here. Yep.
So give me an idea of what you thought about the primary / master bedroom.
Great size. Like I said, awesome size master bath. It's got carpet, brand new carpet. All this carpet is brand new. It looks amazing.
I'm almost willing to say I think that master bedroom is the largest room in the house.
I think so.
So you got the dining and formal area kind of right here.
Yeah.
But I actually think that bedroom is the largest room in the house.
Yeah, because it is over that, but I think it comes this way a little bit too.
And it's got tray ceilings. So
it does. I tend to forget to look up.
True. Yeah, that's true. But that was another thing. So when we repainted it, we repainted the ceilings also to match the wall.
Right.
But in the primary bedroom, we actually decided to do that ceiling and the tray white.
Okay.
To make it pop a little bit more.
Oh, you know what? You say that, and I didn't even notice that the ceiling was the same color of the walls until you said that.
Well,
but it's such a neutral color, so it's good.
And ironically, so we decided to prime them again because there were a couple holes in them and things like that. But I came in, I guess it was like Tuesday of last week when the painter was here, and he double primed the tray ceiling. I'm like, can you leave that? And he's like, well, it's just. I said, well, maybe just do like a white something. Yeah. And he's like, okay. And I came back. I'm like, I'm glad we left it that way.
Good.
I mean, it really makes that room pop and it makes it look even better.
Right.
So, all right. So how about the 3 other bedrooms? Because, a lot of houses lately that are being constructed in the last 10, 12 years, the secondary bedrooms are kind of small.
They are kind of small.
So how about, and this house was built in 2018.
Oh, well,
so it's only about 5 years old.
Right.
Okay. But keep that in mind. How do you feel about the size of those bedrooms?
Well, so now if I was a kid, I'd be having a party because the bedrooms are really big. They are.
Yep.
For sure.
I actually like,
So-
there's one bedroom right here.
Yeah, this is the one that's kind of off by itself. I'm thinking
Yep.
teenage room over here.
Yep. Or how about like even like if you've got 2 kids,
Mm-hmm.
that could be like a space for
Playroom.
like a playroom
Mhm.
or study room or
Right.
whatever.
Yep.
But you got bedroom here, bedroom, these 2 right here
Yep.
that share the bathroom,
Right.
and then you got the master, and the laundry's upstairs also.
Which I love.
I love that the laundry room is up there with all the bedrooms.
Right. I was worried that it might be in the basement. And I was like, ooh, gotta go down 2 sets of stairs, but it is. It's right central upstairs. It's great.
And I've been showing people a lot of homes lately, and there's a lot of people out there that like the older homes that they can either rehab or have been rehabbed.
Right.
And the big downfall is that laundry in the garage or
Right.
the basement or whatever, and it's really hard to move it. But
It is.
everything, and it's a big laundry room also.
It's huge.
So yeah,
It's
I
huge.
was overall this house is.
I think it's important to have a big laundry room. I saw, okay, we'll talk about TikTok for just a second. I saw this lady on TikTok, right? And she had 5 kids, and she had converted one of her bedrooms into a laundry room. So it was not only the laundry room, but it was also the family closet. So she could do her laundry and fold her kids' clothes right there and hang them all up right there. She never had to leave the room.
You know,
So it was amazing.
I actually love that. So my dad built the house that he and my mom lived in, 1979. But he purposely did the same thing. He's got a huge laundry. So there's a sink, and then there's the washer dryer.
Yeah.
Cabinets across the top. A huge folding station with other cabinets. I mean, he really thought that out. He's like, I'd rather have a little bit smaller garage to load up the laundry.
Right. Well, so that laundry room upstairs is not quite that big, but you could really purpose it that way. There's a lot of room to hang or fold or whatever.
I agree.
You don't have to leave, because that's my downfall, right?
Yep.
If it goes in the basket, it stays in the basket.
I'm glad I'm not the only one. Can you notice a little? Can you notice a little bit of wrinkle in this shirt?
If it goes in the basket, it stays in the basket. If it goes on a hanger while I'm pulling it out of the dryer, okay, that's fine. But if it goes in the basket, it stays in the basket.
Yeah. Well, let's talk a little bit about how you and I met.
Okay.
So, my bad. So my videographer, Nate Sampson with Social Pro Videos, told me not to clap. I get excited when I talk.
That's what we
so
normally do.
very handsy, very
I am
hands-on.
too. You know, Capelli, Italian.
Yeah. So if I
handsy.
clap, I apologize in advance. But so we met pre-COVID.
Yes.
And it was Real Estate Connections, which Peter Pasternak and Denny Faircloth do. And there used to be, I think, one. Sorry for clapping. One in one in Atlanta.
No, there was only
Kennesaw.
one. No, there was only one in Atlanta at the time.
Right. Okay.
When we first met, and then they did expand to Kennesaw.
Right.
And then they've had growing pains. Right. Everybody, I think, is affected by COVID in one way or another. And they, as an event, not only were affected by having to shut down. Right. First of all, but it's the way that people now gather and go out is still different.
Right.
And so they've had a little bit of growing pains. They lost their initial location. And so, you know what? I don't even know where the new location is downtown. And then the other one is off of Birmingham Highway in Alpharetta.
Yeah. So I know at one point they went to Fowler's. I don't know if they're still there or not, but make sure you check that out on Facebook if you want to learn more about Real Estate Connections. But it's a great opportunity because it is free for realtors. So you get access to as many realtors as you can get your hands on.
Everybody else is only like $10. So it's super economical, and it's a great networking event. And there's generally over 100 people.
Oh, easily. I mean, it's sometimes, they'll get 200-300 people in there. Yeah. At least in the one in Atlanta. The one in Alpharetta might be a little bit less.
I actually have not attended that one. So again,
and it's so I would say about 20-30% of the people do both. So it's a little bit different, but you got contractors, painters, mortgage people. If it has the slightest bit to do with real estate.
That's right.
So, all right. So we met there, and then COVID kind of happened. Which Real Estate Connections, shout out to Peter Pasternak. It did not shut down. They actually went and did like a networking Zoom.
They did do Zoom,
and
they just didn't do in person.
Right. So they've been going 13 years strong, I think. So, and then when they came back, it's blown up. But yeah, so I was relatively new in the real estate business. I think I just switched to EXP at the time.
Yeah.
Recently switched to Compass, but yeah, so it was a great opportunity to kind of, I don't want to say rub elbows, but to gain a lot of knowledge talking to other people in the industry that I could build a team. Yeah. So when I have a buyer or seller, it's not me. I put a whole team of people around them.
Well, I do have that team and that you are the resource.
Mhm.
During the home buying or home selling process, anytime, right?
Right.
You get a place a buyer in their home, they call you and they say, hey, my HVAC, who do I call?
Right.
Right?
Yep.
So
Yep.
I think it's
All right. So
important.
I tell you, let's walk around the house just a smidge to show
Okay.
some stuff around here because we are doing an open house live.
That's true.
So in this area right here, so these are hardwood floors.
They're gorgeous, I think.
Yep, I think it turned out really. So we did a little bit of polish on them to
Yeah.
kind of update them a little bit as well.
Yep.
The dark with the granite and the dark, I think,
Mhm.
still looks great. It's still
Mhm.
within the trends of today.
Right, for sure.
But very large.
Right.
I've had a couple people tell me it's a great gathering kitchen.
It is.
So not only does it open up into the den or living area,
Sure.
I mean, you can put a table right here. You know, I like the high top tables.
Oh, that's a great idea.
The high top tables, nothing huge, but a lot of great natural light. Looks over the patio and the backyard. But I mean, it's huge.
I mean, I'm thinking like everybody gathers in the kitchen anyway, right? But even if you're having a party, you've got all of this area and you've got that patio area. You can open the windows, right?
Yep.
You have all the music, just
and the back patio. So whether you have kids or dogs,
Right.
it's got a small gate on the stairs.
Right.
So a very safe feature.
True.
And again, I mean, it's a half-acre lot. I mean, very flat.
Yep.
There's a couple trees kind of back in there, but
And it's all fenced in with a
all
privacy
fenced in.
fence,
Yep.
which is nice.
Yep. So great neighbors. They came over earlier and kind of checked it out.
They were really nice.
Yeah, they're super nice.
Yeah.
So you need to kind of hurry because they're
Yeah.
looking to find their own neighbors. So they're going to be making some phone calls. So, but yeah. So I mean, you've been in a lot of houses over the years.
This is my favorite, right?
Okay. Well,
having a gas stove.
All right. So why is that? So there's a lot of people like the gas stove, and a lot of people like the electric stove. Why
Well,
gas?
so
I don't cook, by the way. I
don't?
I go out to eat.
Oh, okay. Well, so I cook all the time, and I have my gadgets, right? I have my air fryer, and have an instant pot and all that stuff because I'm a girl, right? But with gas, there's more.
By the way, I remember you did something on was it last Christmas or the Christmas before? Like, I think I was selling an Instant Pot on the garage sale, and you asked about it, but it wasn't big enough.
Wasn't big enough.
So you're like a serious Instant Pot person.
Okay, so well, actually, I was searching for someone for a particular size.
Okay.
So yeah, that's what I do on the side is source things. That's a whole different. But for gas, for me, it's more control over the heat. I despise the electric stove in my house right now. But the only other thing that would be just as nice or better would be an induction stove. But you don't see those very often.
Right.
Yeah. So if you can get gas and you can have more control over the heat, it's fantastic. I'm a cooker, not a baker, so I don't really care what my oven does.
Oh man, I love me a good baker, as you can tell.
I'd rather cook a good old steak on a cast iron skillet instead of baking a cake. So.
I mean, I probably need to do that more often because again, I mean, you give me a piece of cake, I'm probably going to take two. So I tell people I don't have a sweet tooth. I have sweet teeth.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. I will eat some cake, but I'm not really into cooking them.
Okay. Well, that's actually that's good.
Well, I'll tell you the difference.
It sounds like you're spending a little bit more money on that steak than somebody is cooking that cake.
True. That's true. Because I really would rather have a bone-in ribeye and really enjoy myself. But yeah.
I need to come over for a bone-in ribeye pretty soon.
We have to hurry because I'm moving out to middle of nowhere.
Oh, that's right. You are. You're building. That's right. I remember you building that house out there.
I'm building like 35 minutes north of Rome.
So, are you going to be able to work remote? Or are you going to be driving that drive?
No,
often?
That's the particular reason I picked that area was because it is country enough, but it has fiber. So I don't have to be relegated to my hotspot or a satellite or anything like that. And it has city water, so I don't have to do a well.
That's awesome.
And it's not at the top of the mountain. It's kind of at the base of the mountain, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Do we have new people?
I don't know. Do we have some? You got anybody coming in?
I thought I heard somebody, but I
thought I heard somebody coming in too.
I don't know.
All right. I promise the house doesn't have ghosts. It's just our imagination. Well, yeah, because I remember you. When did you buy that? Because you bought it a while back.
Oh, it's been an almost 5-year journey.
Yeah.
and then I changed my mind a couple of times. I'm a girl. I'm allowed.
Yeah.
But the cool thing about it is that that's actually a tiny home community. but I'm allowed to have up to 1,000 square feet. So I'm at 998 square feet.
Oh, that's interesting.
But when you drive down the road and you look at my house, I've designed it in a way that it still looks like a tiny home from the road.
But it's a little bit longer.
Yes. So what you see from the road is 40 feet long, and then that portion is 15 wide, and then it has a 10 by 10 room, and then it has a 12 by 20 room behind it.
So because that's a big thing right now is the tiny home communities.
Yes.
So are there other homes already have been built in there, or?
Yes. So when I started, there was just one community, and it was rental land, like an RV park.
Mhm.
Although they were very different, that they had 3/4 acres instead of just little RV park.
Right.
Because there's several around. And at the time, 5 years ago, one of the most popular ones was in South Carolina, and it was an old RV park turned into a tiny home community.
Mhm.
So you could literally touch the people next to you. I wasn't a fan of that.
Right.
But also being from a mortgage background, I couldn't buy a thing on wheels
Mhm.
and lease a lot. Like my brain wouldn't handle that.
Right.
It is fantastic for other people, but my brain won't handle it.
Right.
So when I found this, and it's all by the same developer, there's going to be 9 total, I think, up there in that area. And I've got 2 other lots.
Wow.
So
Good for you. That's awesome.
yeah, but this was purchasable lot. And there's 10 along the road, and it's a real road.
So
It's not gravel.
It's not gravel. Eh?
Right, it's not gravel. But there are 30 tiny homes behind me, so it's really a community. Got a pool, dog park, that kind of thing. So
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've kind of thought about when the tiny home stuff started being talked about several years ago. I was like, I almost wish like I bought some big acreage there and just a bunch of friends, but I still have like a community, like I don't want to say pool because pools are kind of a pain in the maintenance, but like, grill out area,
Right.
sit around area, little bed and breakfast, like in the front kind of thing.
Yeah.
I thought that'd be kind of cool.
Well, with the 30, if they were all full timers, I could envision doing like a coffee shop.
Oh, there you go. That'd
Right?
be cool.
Yeah. But
That's awesome.
you mentioned pools. We should probably talk about pools for real estate.
Well, because I'm going to tell you, because this yard is excellent
Right.
for a pool.
It is.
And during the whole, COVID time,
Mhm.
the price of pools almost tripled
Did it really?
because a good friend of mine is a pool builder, and he's like building $60,000 to $80,000 pools and making decent money.
Sure. It's a lot of work.
I think its cheapest pool went to like 155, 170. And it's it was the same size as the 60.
Mhm.
But then, then we went the whole time when the material got higher,
Sure.
concrete's hard to
Yes.
get, all that kind of stuff. But
Yes.
so is it a good idea to get a pool? And if it is, how do you put that in the mortgage? Or can you?
So you can do a renovation loan. You can actually purchase with a renovation loan and use a pool as the renovation.
Interesting.
You actually can do that. Yep.
All right. So let's
And
say
so but you got to make sure that's a situation where you're not at a 3% down or something like that.
Right.
Though. You're definitely gonna have to put a little bit of money down.
right. Good. So like this one. So let's say house 475.
Mhm.
They want to put $150,000 pool in. Okay. So it's not going to appraise for 625.
No.
Okay. So, and I kind of know the process, but I'm glad you're here.
Mhm.
So if somebody wanted to say, okay, 475 plus the 150,
Mhm.
what is that process to get that extra 150 that has that value of 625 on the back end?
Well, so you'll know the answer to this better than I will. If you do put a pool in, what's the return on the value when it goes to be appraised? Is it 50%, 25%, 75%?
So right now, I would say closer to 75%,
Mhm.
but only because of the whole COVID mess.
Sure.
'Cause, I mean, I remember it used to be, even before I got into real estate,
Right.
again, because a good friend of mine built pools, you were lucky if you
Right.
got 50% value.
Right.
Lucky if you got that.
Yeah.
And in fact, I know another guy, not his soul, but most of his business
Mhm.
is filling in or pulling up pools.
Right.
And he makes a good penny.
So I had a pool in my last house. It was very small, though. It was only 16 by 20. So I really just called it the waiting pond. But so it wasn't a $150,000 pool. It didn't have a slide. You couldn't dive in it. It was only 5 feet deep, which had its own set of problems. Every time we had a party, I was like, nobody dive into the pool.
Yep. Well, yeah, insurance. I mean, liability is a big deal on that.
Yeah.
Very big deal.
Yeah. And so, and I actually liked that pool because it was fiberglass, and fiberglass doesn't eat up as much chlorine as a
Granite pool.
Well, was it plastic liner?
Oh yeah, the vinyl liner.
Yeah, vinyl liner. Thank you.
Yep.
It holds the chlorine better.
Mm-hmm.
So in the grand scheme of things, having that fiberglass pool, even though it was very small, it was very cheap because I didn't have to replace the chlorine all the time.
So cheap is relative though. But yeah,
that's true.
Go ahead.
But back to your question.
Yeah.
So if we were talking about how we would do that, we do it as a renovation loan, and we have to get bids from everybody. Mm-hmm. So you do have to, before you can start the process, you have to decide who's going to do it for you.
Right.
Right. So in this particular market, the way that houses are flying off the shelves, it's harder to get that kind of loan accepted on an offer because it takes longer.
Right.
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 But let's say, assume we could, right? Then you would pick the general contractor or whoever's going to do it, the pool guy,
pool builder,
right?
Yeah.
You get a complete estimate, and then we would send the appraiser out, and we would do an appraisal on the as completed. And so we're not regulated to just a pool. Let's say the folks that wanted to buy this house wanted to do the basement.
Right, finish the basement. Yep.
Could do the same thing,
mm-hmm.
right?
My understanding is you can go something even as low as like you just need a new hot water heater.
You can.
Mm-hmm. So if that's all you want, then just figure out a way to do that.
And there's all kinds of things that you could do with it. You could build a new deck. You can't like put a hot tub in,
right?
But you could do a pool, or you can do landscape. I mean, when we're talking about renovation loans, it's as much as taking everything down to the studs and starting all over to a hot water heater.
So I'm glad you brought that up. So I don't know if you know Vince Napolitan. He's like Mr. Renovation, mm-hmm. But he was telling me, which I'd consider horror stories, mm-hmm. where somebody decided to get a renovation loan, and part of the bidding process was there was a ranch, mm-hmm. and then they were going to add square footage to the ranch.
Sure.
They end up popping the top
mm-hmm.
and built up that way.
Yep.
But it didn't get approved in the end because it was not part of the original contract. The original contract was you're adding square footage this way.
Oh yeah, you do have to be very particular
that way. So I was like, wow.
You do have to be very particular, and if there are any changes, they need to know well ahead of time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. I was, and which I'm kind of glad of hearing the horror stories.
Mm-hmm.
I feel bad for the people that it happened to.
Of course.
But when people are like, oh, I want to do so and so and so and so, I'm like, okay, well, make sure you've got a clear vision of what you will look like, and that's what it's got to look like.
Right.
Because if you decide you want to do something different, like, hey, I want to add square footage, but I'm going to pull in instead, mm-hmm. that's a no-no.
Right. You can't just change in the middle. You do have to do what we would call a change order.
Right.
Right. Just to make sure that everybody's aware so that, it gets done. And then you can't really like tear down all four walls and start over, basically.
Yeah, that's a new
construction.
That's a new construction.
That's completely different. But we do have people that, want to do renovation loans, and they're buying in like DeKalb County or whatever. They're like, oh, well, so can I tear down everything? I'm like, oh, well, you can, but you have to keep the same original footprint. Yeah. So.
Well, but all right. So, and you, obviously correct me if I'm wrong on any of mm-hmm. this, but so some programs, even though there's great renovation loan programs, mm-hmm. the new construction loan programs might be good or better depending on the situation.
Right.
So if you're really thinking about, okay, I like this house, mm-hmm. but I'm going to tear it down and start over.
Right.
The program for the new construction might be better than the 100%. Program for the renovation.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yep.
Which you're not tearing down this home, by the way, because this one.
No. This one is fantastic. I mean, the only thing I could think of to do with this house is if you wanted more square footage, is you do the basement.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah. So I mean, and it's ready to go.
Yeah. So. This if it wasn't for me, because I do a lot of stuff on the Alpharetta side.
Sure.
But I mean, I love the location. This area is growing like crazy.
It is.
But it takes me 35, 40 minutes from Kennesaw to get here.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then Nate Sampson came in, and I think he was over in Alpharetta or Johns Creek. So I think he traveled about an hour and a half.
And I came in from East Cobb, and it took me about 40, 45 minutes.
Wow.
Yep. Assuming there was no traffic on 20.
Yeah. That's
and I did take the highway. You don't have to take the highway to get here, though.
Right. But downtown Powder Springs isn't far. Mm-hmm. Downtown Smyrna is not far.
Right.
Mapleton's growing like crazy.
Right.
So downtown Mapleton's not far. Mm-hmm. Was it Thornton Road, Highway 78? I say 70 or 278. It's literally not even 10 minutes.
Right.
So
and there's everything you'd ever want over there.
Oh yeah, and also I love this neighborhood because houses are not on top of each other.
No, they're not. And I came in and I was like, well, I wonder where everything is. So I GPS 0.2 of a mile away. It's not very far.
I stopped by Ghirardelli's again, my sweet tooth stuff and my chips. So yes,
it's not far.
Yeah, I mean, even I want to get some balloons for the signs. Dollar Tree's maybe a little bit further out. Home Depot is, I think, in the same area as Kroger. Because I do the same thing. I'm like, where's my Chick-fil-A? Right. Where's my Home Depot?
And I passed
Where's my Publix and Kroger? Yeah. So where's my Zaxby's? Where's all the stuff that I want? And literally, you're like, 2 to 10 minute drive from everything, but you're back on half-acre lots. You're not on top of your neighbors, and that's a big thing. Even and when you're going to these nicer new neighborhoods, they're putting house on house on house on like maybe quarter of an acre. Right. So you don't see a lot of the half-acre lots anymore.
That's a lot of the reason I chose where I live is because that's 3/4 of an acre.
Yeah. So. And the privacy also. I mean, there's a couple houses on the other side, but
is there?
Yeah, but since it's a half-acre lot, so it goes back so far, and you can barely tell. Yeah. But I mean, then you got their lot, and you got the road, and you got the other lots.
And there's plenty of trees, so you can't even tell you have neighbors.
Oh, it's very private. We're right on, kind of right before cul-de-sac starts, so again, private in that regard as well.
Oh, and this is a cul-de-sac over here.
Yep. So if you come out, there's one house.
See, perfect for
cul-de-sac
kids.
Starts.
Yeah, perfect for kids. Yep. I was like, why is that house back further? But it's because it's
because it starts the cul-de-sac.
Yeah, the cul-de-sac goes this way. Yep.
And the neighbors have, I believe, 3 boys, either 2 boys and a girl, or 3 boys, very active with basketball and baseball. Awesome. Haven't met a whole lot of people on this side, but I know I've seen a couple people, kids riding their bikes. So
awesome. I grew up with a cul-de-sac.
Younger teenagers throwing football out here yesterday.
Well, there you go.
So
I grew up with a cul-de-sac. It was the best childhood ever. Yep. I was outside all of the time. Yep. Right. Of course, I'm of the age where, your parents sent you outside and they said, hey, when the street light comes on, you better be in the house.
So we were doing, we had it where neighbor two doors down, when Nancy rang the bell for dinner.
I had a dinner bell too.
When she rang the bell for dinner, that's when everybody went home.
Yep. We had a dinner bell.
But we could go back. It was definitely one of those, like, you get home and it's like, get out of the house. I don't want you in the house.
Yep.
And it's like, we'd go out on the golf course and play pine cone war. We'd go in the cul-de-sac.
Did you live in my neighborhood? Because that's what we did.
Well, it was Pine Tree. Did you do Indian Hills?
I'm in Indian Hills, yeah.
So back in the day, it was Indian Hills, Marietta, and Pine Tree.
Yep.
Those are kind of the top 3 in Cobb County as far as, like, the golf course amenity communities. There was nowhere near as many high schools as there are now.
I drove into because I still live in Indian Hills currently while my house is being built. Yep. And I drove into my driveway and when it was dark. And I was like, what is that? And there was a kid on the golf course with a black light looking for golf balls. And I was like, genius, genius. Because as a kid, I sold golf balls back to the golfers. And when I was like 8, I made $100 one summer selling 25-cent golf balls.
So I got a story for you. My dad is now 83. So you're 8. Right. He's 83. He still goes out and looks for golf balls every day.
Really?
He'll sell a dozen golf balls for $6.
Okay.
And when I put it out there that he's got a few dozen to go, like, boom, I get phone calls like, we want. And it's funny. I mean, he'll get like the Pro V1s. I mean, Bridgestone, it doesn't matter. And some of these people are like, wait a minute, that doesn't cost me $48 in the shop. It costs me, and Dad, he cleans them up. He makes them look brand spanking new.
Of course. That's the way I did it too. Or I would go up and I would go to the tee box and I would offer to wash their golf balls. You have to be very careful how I say that.
I was about to say, don't be going to wash their balls.
Wash their golf balls for them, right? And I told the kid, at the beginning of 2020, a kid moved in next door, right? He's like, "Oh, I want to make some extra money, blah, blah, blah." And I was like, "Here's what I did." So he did that, but the marshals on the golf course are so much better than they were when I was, young. And so he got smart. He would sell them at different locations.
Good for him.
Right. And so he wouldn't be in the same location all the time. I was always just right outside my back door. Right.
Well, yeah, times were a little different, but
Yeah,
I mean,
true.
so a kid I used to coach tennis to many eons ago, it feels like, he got married about 6 months ago, and all his friends play golf. So all the bachelor, party, whatever,
Oh, yeah.
the groomsmen, he's like, "I want to give them golf balls." I'm like, "Okay." So he gave them, I think, 2 dozen each, which is the equivalent to $100.
Sure.
And it's funny, my dad will go get leftover egg cartons.
That's what I put
And
him in.
he puts them in the egg cartons.
Yeah.
And so I think he bought $1,000 worth of golf balls for like $120.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's crazy.
Well,
So,
my favorite was always
and the groomsmen were like, "This is the best thing ever."
and I clean them all up, and then they'd search through them. They'd because I'd have 10 or 12 dozen sitting there waiting, right? And they would go through them all. They're like, "Hey, this has got my initials on it." I'm like, "Well, it was in my backyard. So if you want it back, you have to pay me for it."
It's like, "I'll sell it to you for 20 cents."
No, still 25. I was a hard bargain, let me tell you. Yep. It's my first entrepreneurial foray, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we go off a tangent on entrepreneurial stuff because I know a lot of young kids nowadays, which is funny. A few years ago, a friend of mine was talking about how entrepreneurial kids nowadays weren't. And I'm like, I have to disagree with you.
No.
And a lot of the kids that I've mentioned,
I think they're more innovative, honestly.
Yeah. Well, so James Ryan, so shout out to James. I don't know if you're watching or not. Only 19 years old, goes to KSU, but he started a landscaping company, which is fairly common.
Right.
After he did that for a little while, he was like, "All right, I'm making good money, but this is a lot of work."
It's hard.
So he pivoted, and he was able to get a hydraulic dumpster, essentially. That holds about 2,800 pounds. And he used some of the money from landscaping to buy that. And now for $250,
right.
This house has some.
That was the guy you were talking about earlier. Yep. So he came and he took all the junk off of this one.
Oh yeah.
I sworn I heard somebody else again.
I know. There aren't
it's
ghosts in
because the
here.
door is open. And so there's people out front, right?
So I think we do have some because there's a forerunner outside. Yep, forerunner. So hopefully they're coming in. Let's see. Hey, how are y'all doing? Come on, come on in.
Yeah.
Come check it out. Are you by chance friends of those guys? Okay, I was just wondering because they're like, "We're calling our friends and they're coming over." So y'all come on in. How are y'all doing? Man, hey, that's a good looking family.
I was going to say.
I know it. Well, I was about to say, and then you showed up.
Wow,
doing well. How are you doing?
Hi. So now are you all sisters?
She's just our front sister.
Okay, I got it. Awesome. Very fun.
Yeah, so feel free to walk around. We got some snacks in the fridge.
Kitchen's that way.
Yeah. So there's 4 bedrooms upstairs. There's an unfinished basement downstairs. So you're more than welcome to check it all out.
Yep. Thank you.
So
just a cute little bathroom.
Yep, definitely. And by the way, so we are filming. So we're doing a open house live.
Okay.
So if you have any questions, if you want to act goofy in front of the camera, you're more than welcome to. That's what we've been doing for the last 20 minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
So if you're famous, though, we have to get you to sign off to make sure that we can put you on video. So
there you go.
But yeah, feel free to look around. Like I said, if you have any questions whatsoever, let me know. So we got anybody online asking any questions there, Nate? Let's see if I can answer any questions for the online people. Okay. Yeah, we had a family. Looks like a family of 7. We have 5 beautiful young ladies. So, hey, I love your shirt, by the way.
That's awesome.
That is awesome. I love your shirt. I love your hair. Y'all are one good look. Yeah, grab a couple of those. Don't even try to grab just one. I know. Just grab a couple. Grab a bunch of them. Don't be putting those back.
Otherwise, he has to take them home.
I have to take them home if you don't eat them. Look, I got a whole. This is why you need to take them. I got to fill it back up. So take as many as you want. I mean, make sure it's okay with your parents, but if it's okay with me, you take as many as you want.
That's right. That's right.
So you got any questions there, Nate? Anybody online? that has any questions?
HOA, neighborhood. and
Oh, that's a great question.
Oh, that is good.
All right, so I believe the HOA is about $525 a year. There's not really amenities
easy.
per se. It kind of takes care of like the front and all that kind of stuff. There are rent restrictions. However, okay, the board will approve you to rent this house as long as it's minimum of 6 months.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so a lot of when you hear HOA restrictions, that means you can't rent it.
Right.
But this one, if I checked with the HOA, I think it's Ashbrooke, something like I have to look it up. Ardent Homes. But we checked them. They said as long as you get board approval, you can rent it for 6 months or longer.
So no short-term Airbnb,
Correct.
that kind of thing, just 6
Correct.
months or more. Well,
Yep. And before the neighbors moved into that house about 6 months ago, because that basement is finished. And I think that house sold for like $525. I'm not 100% sure,
Mhm.
but she actually Airbnb, well, short-term rental at the bottom
Okay.
for it, but 6 months. It was like 6 months and then you're out.
So like travel nurse
Mhm.
kind of
Exactly,
thing.
100%. That's
Yep.
in fact, I think that's what it was as a travel nurse
Right.
that did it. But yeah, so for any investors
Mhm.
that are looking to get into a neighborhood like this, it's this nice,
Mhm.
normally can't get in because of rent restrictions.
Right.
This is going to be a lot better. That's him. It's not him saying don't clap. It's him saying we got to get
Oh,
closer.
yeah, get closer. Okay.
So yeah, so
I think-
anytime you see us kind of do some movement we're not used to, it's because Nate Sampson with Social Pro Video is telling us what to do. 'Cause
That's right.
we got to look and sound awesome.
Well, I think he's doing a great job.
He is.
Right.
Nate's been doing my videography for God, how long have we been doing it now? 9 months. Pre-COVID, not pre-COVID. Pre-Christmas.
Mhm.
So it's like October, somewhere in time.
Well, you've always done a great job with video anyway.
But I joke with everybody. I says if it's crappy quality, I did it. If it's good quality, Nate
Nate
did
did
it.
That's
So
perfect.
yeah, so I'm like, yeah. I mean, can you check this out?
Mhm.
But yeah, I would have to walk around this
Mhm.
thing holding this forever.
Oh, that's true.
Oh, it's so nice. I'm
Well,
having.
I don't know. They have kind of cool new tools now, or
True, but
Have
Social
you
Pro
seen that one?
Video,
Well, no,
he's highest quality, all that kind of stuff.
100%.
So,
I would
yeah.
rather have somebody like him do that than me try to be worried about it, because of course, if I had like a selfie stick or whatever, I would walk around and it'd hit the wall or something, right?
I think I've actually done that.
That would be me.
And I can't edit it either. Yeah, luckily, I mean, he makes me look
Oh, right.
amazing.
Right.
So even though we're doing this live today, and I might still stick my foot in my mouth, he can't cut that out. It's live and goes.
Right.
So we can't cut anything out. So what did y'all think? Did y'all pick out your bedrooms? Yeah. All right. So which one's yours? Up there. Okay.
Yeah.
How about you? Or so is anybody sharing rooms,
perfect.
by the way? Right here. I got you. All right. So I got you. Perfect. Yep. I know. I got a secret place for the trash can. What's
It's
that?
down here.
It's over here.
Yep,
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, it was kind
So
of the
right
first thing I
through
looked
here.
for too.
I'm going to the basement. So downstairs, there's probably about, God, I want to say 1,400 square feet, maybe roughly.
Yeah.
It is stubbed for a bathroom. You could probably get a kitchen down there if you want to get it for anybody, or if you wanted it for just you. You could live down there and have
Man
everybody
cave.
else live up here.
Man cave.
But there's exterior entry, interior entry. I want to say the layout's similar to this.
Right.
This room back here would probably be more like a.
So it goes under the garage.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yep. So you probably put like a kitchenette and bathroom on this side,
Uh-huh.
and then you put a bedroom in the front,
Okay.
and then like a living area right here. It's a great setup.
So it basically goes underneath this whole first floor,
Mhm.
right?
In fact, it's almost the exact same layout. It's just obviously because it's on concrete on this side. There's no window on this one,
Okay.
but there's a window on this wall and 2 or 3.
Oh, that makes sense.
Mhm.
And,
So you can
and
do
there's
a-
no
you-
windows on this side,
Correct.
right?
So you can do a living area, a bedroom, bathroom, kitchenette.
Got it. He has a question.
So
Yes,
we
sir.
got a question online. Someone wants to know about the other spaces we can't see, like the additional spaces. I think somebody asked if there was a dining room.
All right,
yeah.
so right through here, I actually wish we could get over here a little bit more, but I mean, you're probably looking at about 12 by 30. So you got your dining area right here. There's a nice, beautiful
I would
dining room
say-
right here.
It's almost this big.
Yeah,
The dining room itself is almost this big.
So this area right here is bigger than the living space.
Yes.
So back in
It's
the day,
longer.
growing up, you had the dining room, living room, and the den. I would actually call that the den. I would call this the living area and the dining room, but huge space, huge space. You got a half bath right here. You got the door to the garage right here. You got your coat closet right here. So
What do you guys think?
what did you think? Give me some feedback.
It was nice. I love the bathroom.
You love the bathrooms? Okay, cool. So when y'all moving in?
We're gonna talk to, we have an agent, but just want to let her know we were here.
Okay.
And then
Great.
If you, I don't know if I've got my card with me. I guess I should have my card. Actually, let me give you one of these forms. I don't know if you grabbed one yet or not. So here's that's my contact information right here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So this is like, so back in the good old days, like I was telling them, this is like the dining area, and you have like a living room or like a study, and then you got like a den. So, or you have 2 living rooms, or maybe this is where y'all do all your homework. You know, where your parents chain you to the chair to make sure you do all your homework. Maybe your dad puts an office in here, or your mom puts your office in here. But this, I mean, it's a good use of space.
Right.
So I don't know what you're thinking as far as, you know, finishing the basement, but you know, you could get at least one more bedroom down there. So another living area, or
You can get 1 bedroom with 1 bath.
you probably can only get 1 bath,
Yeah.
but you may get a kitchen area down there.
No bath, no normal toilet, and then you get your normal hall, the living room downstairs.
Yep. So it's a good amount of space. It really is. So, do you guys go to school around here?
They use what's the name of the
McKeachern.
school?
I'm like, yep.
Yeah,
So
well,
you know McKeachern used to be a college.
Yeah.
So I was born and raised here, born at Kenston Hospital.
Oh, yeah.
I've been here over 50 years, so half a century. But yeah, in fact, McKeachern was one of, if not the top school, other than Walton. Walton and McKeachern were like 2 of the top
What
schools.
schools are under here?
What's that?
What schools are under here?
McKeachern High Schools. Yep,
This year?
yep, it's in this one. Oh man, I knew you were gonna ask me that. I can't remember.
Do they want to tell your people what they thought about the house?
Yeah. So hold on. Let me figure out. All right. So y'all okay being on video? Well, no, you can be, and no, because you got some good questions too. Come on. So come on. Hey, asking some questions. Good question. All right.
I'll do it.
All right. So you got to ask the same questions that she was asking. So we're talking about the high schools, the middle schools, which are going to stump me. Okay. So, all right, first of all, what did you like best about the house?
I like the bathrooms. Bathrooms are really nice and sleek and able to share. So that was what I really liked.
Okay. So yeah. So we've got. I got to get close to you. Sorry. So because there's 5 girls, right? 5 girls.
Yes.
And what's the age range?
So we go from 16 to I think 6.
Oh wow.
Yes.
Okay. So what's the ages?
So basically, we have a 16-year-old, we have a 14, we have 10, and then 6 and 5.
Oh wow.
Yes.
Okay. So y'all get along really well. Is the house you're in right now, is it kind of small and cramped, and that's why you don't get along?
Well, no, mostly because the age range,
Okay.
and also we wanted more of our separate rooms.
Okay.
So because of we're all getting older.
So this is a 4-bedroom.
Mhm.
There's so your mom and dad will be in one room.
Yeah.
You got the other 3. So what's the bedroom setup going to be?
So basically, we're thinking that I would go with the younger one because I can mostly.
Okay. All right. That's cool.
And then
Now, are you the oldest?
I am the oldest.
Okay. All right.
And then the 2 middles will stay together.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So your mom had asked about the high schools.
Yeah.
So you already go to McKeachern?
Yes, I already did.
All right. So this house is in the McKeachern School District. So that's great. I can't remember the elementary school and middle school, but where do the younger ones go to school at?
So we're thinking either Cooper or Tap because that was where we're mostly been going to.
Okay.
But since the other one, she's already in high school, so we're just going from elementary to, so we don't really matter. It's mostly the high school that matters.
Okay. So is there, I mean, actually, what's your favorite part? Is there a least favorite part of the house?
So I think I would say the least favorite part of the house is that there was only 1 bathroom.
Upstairs?
Yes.
Well, technically there's
Apart
2,
from
but yeah, but you have to
apart from
share.
the
Yeah.
master.
Yeah.
If there was more bathrooms where like not 3 bedrooms.
I was going to say, because it's not just there's 1 bathroom for 3 bedrooms. There's 1 bathroom for 5 young women.
Yeah. So that was kind of
Sure.
a stump, but I think we can look past it.
So do you think your parents would at some point maybe finish the basement so one or two of y'all could live down there?
Yes. So I don't think we'll live down there
Well, it
because
would stay down there.
yeah, we could use the
Where you can
bathroom.
Right.
down
Make
there,
sure
which would be
everyone
good.
knows
And
you're
then
here.
we could just like make anything since it was unfinished. We could just do what we want. Really.
That's true.
with the
That's
basement.
true.
It's-
All right.
Put your number
So
in.
what grade are you in at McEachern?
So I am an 11th grader.
Okay.
I'm about to go to 12th grade, so that's why the high school really matters.
No,
I'll
do
graduate
my
right from-
Right.
So, yeah.
All right. Have you already thought about what you want to do after high school?
Yes, I do want to go to college. I'm not sure where, but I want to do medicine.
Excellent. So you're going to be a doctor.
Yes.
What, a doctor of what? What's your specialty going to be?
Skin, either skin or surgery.
Okay. So a kid, and I say a kid, he's now 42 years old, that I used to coach because I coached tennis a long time ago. He actually went to like medicine, all that kind of stuff, but he is a plastic surgeon for hands only. Like that's his specialty.
Yes.
And I'm like, there's actually a specialty for that? He's like, yeah. So, but he's up like in the Wake Forest area. So, well, I don't want to keep you, so I know I need to go, but thank you very much for stopping by.
Thank you.
But yeah, if y'all have any other questions, anything, reach out and let me know.
Have a good
And next time we're getting you on video.
Oh,
Thank you. See you guys.
There's me. You should get it. Just in
Oh.
time now.
Perfect.
By the way, I do want to say, so that family came in a 4Runner. So shout out to Dave Hauser, who drives a 4Runner and says that that is the greatest, best vehicle in the whole world.
I'm buying a new vehicle this year, so that's good to hear.
Okay. So now I need to tell you, I just got a new vehicle, or new to me at least.
I was just say, I don't think that was your.
That's
We
not my- yeah.
we talked about you buying something else the last time I saw you.
I was going to get a Bronco.
That's what it was.
So, and I still could kind of shoot myself in the foot. So because I pre-ordered it in June of 2020,
Mhm.
the price I was going to get was going to be a very good price.
Mhm.
We got to move over because our social pro video guy says we got to move over to
Oh,
show
right,
more
over
of the
this way?
kitchen.
Okay.
But
We'll go-
it was Velocity Blue. It was going to be the 6-cylinder. I mean, it was Mac Daddy.
Right.
And I don't necessarily want to quote the price because the Krauses might get mad at me. But I ended up deciding not to get it because the monthly payment was going to be too high.
Mhm.
They sold it for over $20,000 more than what I had built it for.
Oh yeah,
So
that's
I
been,
might be waiting about 3 or 4 years before I can go get a Bronco. But I drove that Lincoln for 3.5 years. Bought it from Angela Cross Ford Lincoln.
right.
So shout out to the Krauses for me. So I drove it longer than any car. I've had almost probably 30 cars in 33
You're like
years.
me. I change cars all the time.
Mhm.
And I had a visit with my financial planner the other day, and he's like, "Okay, so do you want a new car?" And it's like, "Well, sure. Everybody wants a new car."
Mhm. So the 2 shout outs I want to give you to think about. I've known the Krauses since I coached Zach since he was 9, and now he's like the regional manager of all their dealerships.
Mhm.
They own Hyundai, Ford, Lincoln. They even own a exotic car dealership that sells like Lamborghinis. I don't know if you want one of those.
Well, doesn't everybody?
I know gas is really shitty in those kind of cars.
It's true.
But and then they
Really?
also even a Mercedes dealership, I think in Decatur, DeKalb.
Mhm.
But then you also have Taylor Merritt just started doing it's kind of hard to explain exactly what she does, but she works with Beaver Toyota
Okay.
on their health, wellness, and mindset for the employees. And that's a really cool dealership. You need to at least go check it out one day.
Right.
Yeah, but if you want the Toyota hookup, I'll hook
I
up
do
with
want
Taylor.
a Toyota.
Well, again, the 4Runner. I mean, I'm driving an F-150, 2015 Lariat. It's a ruby red. It's beautiful. It's got all the bells
is
and
pretty.
whistles. Very beautiful. We might get a shot of that later. But Dave Hauser will tell you that the greatest vehicle in the entire world is the 4Runner. So I did think for about a week or so about it, but I was like, I'm kind of a Ford guy.
So I tend to stay with the Asian models, right? Honda, Toyota, Nissan.
Yep.
I tend to stay with those. I did have a Subaru once, and they are great for what they do, but it was just too small for me because once I started driving an SUV, I was done.
Yeah.
But I will say I do drive my SUV like a sports car.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a sport utility vehicle, right?
So I
Same thing.
had an F-150 before I got the Lincoln, and really switched up to kind of save a little bit of money on payment. And zippy, quick. It was fun. when I test drove the truck, that was a Thursday or Friday. It was like, I don't remember it being this big, but picked it up yesterday and today it's like I've been driving it for 6 years.
Yeah.
So whipping in and out of parking spots, I mean, it takes no time.
Exactly.
So but I'm like that too. It's like, it doesn't matter if it's because I've had a 350Z also, 350, Mustang, Lincoln truck, they all drive the same to me.
Yeah, exactly. and an SUV is a sport utility vehicle, so it might as well be a sports car, right?
And speaking of that, the garage is huge.
So it is a 2-car garage.
2-car garage. It does have one garage.
So it has one door.
One door, but you and I both could fit. Both are like my truck and your car would fit in that garage.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's that large.
You know, sometimes I see trucks pulling out of garages and they have like this much space from the ceiling. I'm like,
and this would be one that I always put the tennis ball down so far. So just to make sure I've got plenty of space, because the truck is long.
Sure.
But as far as width, it's phenomenal. But I would say you probably got a good.
All right,
maybe
now I
3
have to
feet
go
above
look.
the- all right,
I got to
all
see
right.
if it's got like room to do like projects and all that stuff.
All right. Get ready for the surprise.
Oh, it is really nice.
Yep.
It's really big.
Very, very high.
And you can put shelving on this side.
Yep. Shelving on it.
That's
In
awesome.
fact, it actually did have shelving on that side,
Oh, really?
and they would get 2 cars in here.
Awesome. So you really could put shelving on both sides. Nice.
Yep. So, but yeah, 1-car garage. It does have
And
the
of course-
steps down.
Yeah. And
But,
of course, a garage door opener.
There again, there was a bunch of stuff
Mm-hmm.
in there that we got rid of, but cleaned it all out, and you can easily put the 2 cars in there.
Looks great.
Yep. Thank you.
So before we had guests coming in, you were talking about the room here.
Oh yeah. Thank you.
But so this room is great. And you were talking to them about having the dining room over here, which is what it is for, and then an office or a den over here, or even like with them, they had all those kids, a homework area. Right.
Correct. I mean, you could even go so far. So I used to, before COVID, and some people had issues with the master on the main saying, a lot of people don't use dining rooms anymore. And you could, going back to what you were saying before about the renovation, you could actually make this into a bedroom down here.
You could.
So, because you got the kitchen right there, you convert and put a bathroom right there, and then you make a bedroom right here, and you got a primary.
And your closet is right here.
Yep.
But what if you walled this part off and put the closet over here?
Yep.
And then you really do have a true bedroom with windows, access, the whole 9 yards.
Yep. And that was when I came up with the idea for master on the main, that was it. Is okay. How can I convert dining rooms to bedrooms?
Sure.
Because the square footage does sell.
Right.
But at the same time, a 5-bedroom, 3.5 bath.
Sure.
With the same square footage as a 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath is going to sell for a lot more money. So that was the idea I had. I was like, okay, do you really use your dining room?
Right.
If you don't, let's convert it.
Right. Well, so now I have a question. You mentioned COVID, and how has it changed what people are looking for in houses?
God, that's a great question.
Because I know that before COVID, it was all, we want everything open. And now that people have spent so much time at home with their family members, has that changed a little bit to where, I need a private space, or we don't want everything to be completely open?
It's funny. I mean, there still needs to be a gathering area.
I agree.
So, in houses I've seen new construction, kitchens are getting bigger and bigger and bigger because that's where everybody wants to be. They don't want to be in the dining room. They don't want to be in the den.
I have 998 square feet and I have a huge kitchen.
Yeah.
So,
and it's funny,
is
like
important.
when I go to show, so I got a couple investors and people wanting to buy it on the West End where the Beltline's going to reconnect. And the first thing they ask is the kitchen's small. I'm like, the house was built in 1950, or the house was built in 1960, or the house was built in 1920. And even the ones that have been kind of renovated, you can tell they're trying to make the kitchen bigger.
Yeah.
But you're still limited by 1,000 square feet or 1,200 square feet, and some of the houses even were additions were built on. So people like a bigger bathroom, but the bigger kitchen is.
I'd rather have a
everybody
bigger
wants.
kitchen for sure. For sure. I had a 1965 ranch as my last house, and you walked in the back door and you would open the door to the left, and that was a wall with the refrigerator. And then if you walked forward, you walked into the dishwasher, and then you turned right and you walked into the stove, and you turned right again, you walked into the wall.
Mhm.
So it was, yeah.
Well, I mean, so like with my parents' house, Dad built it in 1979, and they separated like a little dinette with the kitchen as
Right.
L-shaped, and then you had the dining room and a living room, and the den my parents' den is probably about the size of the bottom of this house. It's huge.
Uh-huh.
It's got the old picnic pine walls still.
Oh, sure.
But anyway, so about 15 years ago, they took that centerpiece out and they made it all
Right.
one big piece. And we still have the dining room,
Uh-huh.
but then you got the living room, which Mom wanted to convert to the dining room.
Right.
Now I kind of hope that they could take out one more wall. They could really make that kitchen
Well,
huge.
that was one of the prerequisites when I was looking for a brick ranch, was that one of those walls was out,
Mhm.
because it was just so long and narrow.
Yep.
Right. It was a big room, but it was long and narrow. So
Yeah, you want people to kind of like this. You want to be able to spread out.
right.
So, I mean, literally, if you put, like one of those higher tables here with like, a couple
Right.
of bar chairs, you could have like 2, 3, 4 people leaning this way, 1 or 2 people leaning that way. I mean, you could probably get 10 people in here.
And
Just
then you
having
have
a
all the
good
people
old
in
time, and
there
it's
with the
all open.
TV up there watching
Mhm.
football.
I mean, this is a great like holiday house.
For sure.
So you got some people kind of cooking here,
Mhm.
and people kind of watching TV. I mean, people can literally.
There's plenty
I mean,
of counter
yeah.
space here.
Yep.
Again, I'm a cooker, so
Yeah, but to kind of go back to your question, I mean, I think for the most part, people are trying to maximize their square footage as much as possible,
Mhm.
so that they can spread out.
Mhm.
Again, the larger kitchens, bathrooms not a big deal, except maybe in the master.
Right.
I think having more bathrooms might be better. So, like she said earlier,
Yeah.
rather than like a lot of houses that were built from like 94 to 5 years ago,
Right.
was the 4 bedrooms, 2 baths upstairs
Right.
with a half bath.
Right.
It's actually, and these rooms are huge.
They are very big.
I would actually, if I were to redo this house, not redo it, but rebuild it, I would take a little bit of room out of the bedrooms and have a 4-3 upstairs with a half bath down here.
Yeah.
That's what I would do.
Well, and they were all girls, right?
Correct.
Can you imagine having to fight for one bathroom with 4 or 5 girls?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep. So, and that's
Somebody
why,
will be down here.
well, that's why I mentioned, you think your dad's going to try to finish it, because he could get it. I mean, ideally size wise, 1 bedroom, 1 full bath, and a huge living space.
Sure.
He could put 2, but it wouldn't really work, because you'd have taken away a lot of living space. Because remember, when you're doing a bedroom, it's got to have a window and a closet.
Right. That's what I was talking about here.
Mhm.
Was if you turn this into a main living area, you could convert that closet and just move the door to the other
Mhm.
side, and you would have a true closet.
Mhm.
It'd be a small one, but still it'd be
Well,
a closet.
but I
It's
mean,
required.
I think you could turn that into a master.
100%.
I mean, that is so large. It's not
Yeah.
quite as big as a master, because again, the master bedroom is huge up
If you
here.
needed it.
But you could call master on the main, which is a huge selling point.
Sure.
So, but you do a master on the main, and you do a master with a nice bathroom right here,
Right.
and the girls could run the show upstairs. So,
Yeah, I'd want to be either upstairs by myself with all those kids or downstairs by myself.
well, that's like
One of the
when
two.
he was going down the basement.
Right.
That's why I was like, that might be your man cave.
Right.
That might be where you want to, move all your stuff.
So before they came in, we were talking about the HOA.
Mhm.
We were having, you can have at least 6 months of rental.
Yep, it's got to be
and
6 months.
5 what for HOA dues?
I think it's like $525 or $555
Oh,
for
that's-
the year.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
And that's just for, there's no pool, no tennis court, no anything like that.
Mhm.
But with a cul-de-sac like that, what do you need that for?
well. So, and again, I almost wonder if they had the bigger lots for, like,
Maybe.
if you want to do a pool, if
Sure.
you want to do something like that. And a lot of these communities like this, that money does kind of it pays to keep the front looking good.
Mhm.
There's plenty of sidewalks where you can walk, ride your bikes, all that kind of
Right.
stuff. And love them or hate them, HOA make sure that you make your house stay the way it needs to stay.
Right.
The inside of this house was a little bit of
Yeah,
a mess,
We talked about
but
that.
but the outside, I mean, it's still. I mean, if you don't cut the grass, you still get the letter, or you get fined, or
Sure.
whatever.
Well, so talk about the outside of the house. Is it brick? What kind of siding is it?
So there's stone, and God, that's a great question. I'm pretty sure it's concrete siding.
Okay.
But you do
Probably
have
hardy board.
yeah. So you got the stone. So you got the stone in a couple different places. I can't really tell you. To me, brown is brown, but it's a lighter shade of brown. But
Right.
but you know, again, huge yard. I mean, nice landscaping.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, you know,
Mm-hmm.
roof is new or newer.
Okay, newer.
I mean, again, keep in mind the house
Well, it
is
is
built
only,
in
it's only 5
2018.
years old, right?
Yeah, so the hot water heater is only 5 years old.
Right.
The HVAC is a couple years old. Roof is a few years old. I mean, you got some great light fixtures in
Right.
here. So
No, it is nice.
Mhm. You got Wi-Fi for the heating and air. You got a code.
Oh, that's right.
You got a code to get
All
in.
the little nests, right?
Mhm.
Because there's
Yep.
one here and upstairs.
Correct.
So are there 2 heating and air units?
Now there's only one unit, but there's 2 zones.
Okay.
So because a lot of houses again built in that time frame, or people that are kind of converting their units per. Because again, my parents
Right.
did this, is they have separate zones.
Right.
So I don't know what the size of the unit is. My dad got one of the bigger ones because it heats and airs 3,800 square feet. And again, it's got 2 zones, one for upstairs, one downstairs.
Right.
So same thing with this one.
Right.
So, and to be honest with you, I would probably, like in the summertime, you're not going to need it. I mean, unless you
Right.
leave the windows open
Sure.
or the blinds open.
Right.
But you probably run the AC a little bit more upstairs and,
Sure.
Normal here. You're not going to need, I mean, still run the stuff in the basement, but basement's going to stay nice and cool.
Of course.
So,
So there's a fireplace here too.
yep.
Is this gas?
Gas.
Gas logs,
Yep,
right?
gas logs.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay.
So yeah, you got, in fact, you flip the
Oh, you
switch
just
and
flip the switch.
Flip the switch. And
Well,
it's
that's
ready to
easy.
go. Yep. Flip the switch and it's ready to go.
Awesome.
So
That's nice. I'm telling you, TV
and two,
right here,
and 2-inch blinds.
sofa and chairs over there. I'm watching football. Yeah.
Well, that's it. I mean, you can do like a huge sectional right here
Yeah.
if you wanted to.
And still have enough room to walk around to the basement.
Yep.
For sure.
I agree. And put the TV up there if you want. So
Now
I mean,
this room and the kitchen are the only 2 that don't have crown molding. And these guys have this big, really big,
Correct.
wide crown molding all down here.
Yep. Correct.
So now I'm
So,
curious.
So I think that's kind of because it's a little bit more the
More
formal
formal.
area.
Yeah.
Because you got the formal dining and formal
Right.
living. So a lot of natural light coming in from that
Mhm.
window. You do have blinds on this one.
Right.
So yeah, so this usually when you have that kind of crown molding, it's because it's the formal
Yeah. nice.
area. And then when you go upstairs,
Right.
so
Well,
so like for you guys that are watching, if you go upstairs to the right,
right above this room.
I mean, the bedroom's almost the size of this. I would say probably about 85% the size of the den. Probably
I
the
think
largest secondary room.
I think it comes to about right here.
Right. And then you go, and then there's it's not really chair railing, but I guess it kind of is. You go around, and you got one
Wait,
bedroom on the right.
And there's a big window right there.
Correct.
Right when you
Yep.
walk up the
Lot
stairs,
of-
there's
lot-
big
yeah, a
windows,
lot of
which is
light.
great.
Um,
I hate a dark staircase.
I know. But so, and then the other bedroom, when you first get around right here, it's actually got 2 lights, so it's pretty big as well. Again, good size, and it's got, I don't even want to call it a nook because it's bigger than a nook, but you can put like a desk right there, and it looks out a window.
Right.
And then you got the bathroom, laundry room's right next to that, and then another bedroom right there in the corner.
And there's a window in the laundry room, isn't there?
There's a window in the laundry.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then
With blinds.
I know for sure these 2 rooms, and I didn't check the third one, but I know that for sure these 2 rooms have they have a double door closet.
Correct.
And it's not the bifold. It's
Correct.
actually a double.
double
It's
door.
actual
Mhm.
doors,
Mhm.
which is nice.
Yep. And,
So-
and even the closets have been painted. We make sure the closets got paint on the inside, carpet in the closets.
Right.
And again, I would say the closets are a little bit more average size, but again, it's a good size.
Sure. They're good size.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, a family of 4 to 6 easy in this house.
Yep.
And that's not even using the basement. If you use the basement, you're in
Right.
good shape.
Right.
So,
And you said the basement's already plumbed for a bathroom?
already plumbed. It's stubbed and plumbed.
Awesome. So
Yep.
don't have to go down there and dig anything up to put a bathroom in. That's awesome.
Yep. So I do think you do have to do, which again, that's more of a contractor, but like a sump pump or something like that, or however you do that to where the plumbing goes up to the.
That's out of my
Okay,
expertise.
good as mine too.
I've never actually owned a basement, to be honest.
So my again, the house So the house before the one my dad built, he built another one in Pine Tree. So he had two he built in Pine Tree. That one had a basement, and Mom said it was too large, so they got rid of that one on Olympic Lane.
Mhm.
This house is actually bigger square footage, but it doesn't have a basement.
Ah, okay.
But when I had my first house in Bentwater in Ackworth, he and I finished that basement, and we had to use like a sump pump to make sure it went upward somehow. But it's a ranch,
Mhm.
and I think it was like 1,700 square feet. So when we finished the basement, it went
Right.
from 1,700 square feet to 3,400 square feet.
That's
and I
crazy.
went from 3-bedroom, 2-bath to 5-bedroom, 3-bath, and 2 living rooms.
Right.
I mean, so there's living rooms downstairs also.
Hmm.
So yeah,
That's
that
nice.
was a lot of fun. I mean, doing a project like that, and,
Right.
I doubled my money on that one. And then I bought in Woodstock, and that's when the housing market went to crapper. But I was telling everybody, I said I could have lived in far worse places.
Sure.
I mean, downtown Woodstock is a phenomenal area as well.
It is great.
Yep.
You know, I don't know anything about Powder Springs. I just don't. I've just never, I mean, I've lived here like you were born here, right?
Yep.
Oh, so it's not stone, it's brick.
Yeah, well, it's brick here,
Brick face.
and then I think it's stone.
Oh, no.
No, it is brick. You're
It
right.
is all brick.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
Oh,
it's
it's
nice.
got the shaker. So there's
Shaker at the
there's
top.
Shaker right there.
Yeah.
Yep. And
I like this.
I love the it's not there, shutters. What are they called?
It's good sod.
Yeah.
No, those are shutters. It's
Okay.
sort of.
I guess I always thought
But-
shutters open,
They do.
but
They
yeah, I
do.
got the
Nice
Mulch.
landscape.
mulch.
Mhm.
So we put down some pine straw for
Mhm.
good aesthetics.
Good sod.
Yep.
It's really quiet out here too.
Oh, 100%.
Oh, and look, the across the street, there's no house right across the
Correct.
street,
Well, again, so that house owns a portion.
right?
And I think that house owns a portion.
Right.
So nobody can
So-
build right there.
So it's not like all packed in.
I'll be willing to bet that every house
I like that.
is right at about a half acre or more.
I think you are 3/4 of an acre here.
It's well,
Because
actually,
it goes back way
it's-
back.
Well, it's right at like it's a half acre, but it feels they feel bigger because everybody's got a half acre.
True.
I mean, you have to walk a good ways to the neighbors. Say, hey, can I borrow some sugar?
And they do a pretty decent job of kind of staggering them and so that you're not literally like looking in someone's bathroom,
100%.
which I like. And I do like that the garage has windows on it.
Yep.
Too.
And
Not just those little windows that the garage has.
well, and it's got I don't know what it's called, but it's got some kind of film on it, so it's not like somebody can just be nosy and just
Right.
look in.
I like that too.
So and ironically, I had something in the windowsill. I think Friday.
Mhm.
So when I got here today, I was like, "Oh, I got to move it." So it's enough film to kind of hide what you're doing in there.
Sure.
But if you lay something there, it's like, "Ooh, what is that?"
Right.
So, but yeah,
Nice.
Yep.
I like it.
So, we got any more questions from online, Nate, that we can answer? Any questions? Interested in the house?
So you mentioned about it being, so you mentioned about like the HOA and the rental restrictions and that kind of thing. And I heard a little bit that you were talking about perhaps like renovating a portion of this bottom to put in a separate like master on the main. So I'd like to kind of hear more about that, like that option and how that translates into like a renovation loan, what it
Right.
would take to do that kind of stuff.
Sure.
So again, that was an idea that maybe I should get back on. I just got to find some contractors who want to do that. But again, you've got all these houses over, thousands upon thousands of houses that have dining rooms that only get used at Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Right.
So how can we make better use of the square footage?
Right.
And a lot of the houses, again, from mid 80s to probably mid 2005, 2006, a lot of them were like the 4 bedrooms upstairs.
Right.
And as me being one of them, as we get older,
Mhm.
I don't want to climb a bunch of stairs.
Right.
So if I bought this house, probably within about 10 years, I'd be already thinking about
Sure.
selling it.
Right.
Because I don't want to climb the stairs anymore.
Sure.
If I go in, whether when I purchase it or within 5 or 6 years, in a space like that, I couldn't ask for a better space.
Right.
The plumbing shouldn't be that difficult because it's right next to the kitchen.
Well, plus you have the basement too, so you don't have to dig anything up.
Correct.
You just use the basement to extend that plumbing. So
Yeah. So your kitchen probably
Right.
stops, right about here on the other side.
Mhm.
And literally from this wall, about this all the way back,
Mhm.
is that area right here. You can't really check it out. So if you took an area like from that wall to this wall, could make, maybe even about that, or actually this window right here, and make that a master bathroom.
Yeah.
And as Cheryl said, actually, so you got your cook closet here, but it's, you know, it's far from the front door.
It's
I hate to say it, but a lot of people don't really use cook closets anymore.
no.
I mean, put your crap in your own bedroom for crying out loud. Okay, but get rid of this door, and you put a door right here, and then here's your closet
Yep.
for your master.
Yep.
Right next to the master,
Mhm.
the bedroom, the bathroom, and then this entire space. Hey, y'all, come on in. This entire space becomes a bedroom. And you don't really have to do a whole lot. You can put a wall here. Hey, we're actually doing an open house live, so you get to be on video while you're looking at the house.
Don't worry, we're not famous though. So
Yeah, but come on in.
not yet.
Jennifer, nice to meet you. Yeah, come on in, check it out. We have the living and dining area here, in there, kitchen, make sure you get some of the snacks. You know, I got to eat them. All the bedrooms are upstairs, the master is huge, it's the biggest room in the house. And then you got, if you go around this way right here, you can go into the basement. Open house, so, all right, thank you. Any questions you have? So,
Okay. And they have a
But I didn't want to answer it while we were doing it.
You would
Yeah.
believe how many homes we have went to today
No
that has
backyard.
no backyard.
What? Well, this
And no patio.
we were just
Oh,
talking
one
about
has
this.
yeah, half an acre.
Yep.
A nice flat backyard.
Well, you know, we were talking about pool earlier,
Yeah, if you want to build a pool, we can help you out with that.
but if it were me, I would do a big old vegetable garden right over here.
That's what we
want.
All right, so we
'Cause-
got vegetable garden. I've got pickleball court because pickleball court will be right there. I could put actually maybe even two.
Well,
I'm getting a lot of comments for that one.
yeah, well, I was just walking out to see where the sun was, and it hits right here. It's
Mhm.
perfect for a raised bed garden.
Yep.
That's what I would do with it. But
Yep. No, you're right. It would. That'd be a great spot for a garden.
Yeah.
And the way the water kind of comes,
exactly.
it would actually help kind of keep it
Yeah.
fertilized and moist.
Yep. Because it's a little higher over there, and
Mhm.
it would drain down into the garden.
I agree
So-
100%. I love that you brought that up because I didn't even think about that. And we're getting back to where I can't say back to where because there's some people that still love doing their gardening, but they
Me.
don't have the yard to do it.
Oh, well, you know, I told you I live in Indian Hills, and so I live on the golf course. And for most golf courses, there's some kind of easement between the golf
Correct.
course and the
Correct.
house, right? Well, ours is a scant 30 feet.
That's a lot.
No, because my house is bent because it's so close to the golf course.
Oh, okay. Because like my parents
But-
live on the golf course and it's the same, but it doesn't go back that far. But Dad actually he does his tomatoes
Oh,
like
well,
you're teeing off, and tomatoes are growing about 30 feet that way.
yeah. Well, I would do that, except for when you live on a golf course, you have to get approval to cut any of the trees down, no matter if they're on your side of the line or their side of the line, because it changes the par. I don't know. I don't play golf.
That's
so.
a great thing about. So Indian Hills is still very strict in that regard.
Yes, they are.
Pine Tree, I don't think that's the case anymore.
Hmm.
So
Well, Pine Tree is as old as Indian Hills, or maybe just slightly older. But
they're about the same- yeah, about the same.
one of the cool things about Indian Hills and why people like to move there so much is that the HOA is optional now. It's not mandatory. And a lot of the rules are gone because those
Yep.
generally last only 30 to 40 years.
I
And it's
agree.
been longer. So
I agree. So yeah, check out as much as you want. That's your pantry there, good sized pantry. A lot of cabinet space in here. Y'all better grab some of those snacks. Almost smack you up, don't grab some of those snacks. Even if you have to throw them away after you go outside, I'm okay with it.
hilarious. Hilarious.
We were talking earlier, we think it feels like a gathering area, a gathering, and then it
Mhm.
opens up into this spot.
Yeah, it does.
So, that's what families and friends do now. Like they like to gather all like in this area where they can snack.
Oh,
Maybe watch a little TV over here.
that was my fault.
Yeah.
I'll just open
That was
it
that
here.
ghost that Cheryl was talking about.
No, no. No, no.
ghost.
You know, I figured
the
out what
house
it-
isn't old enough to be haunted.
I actually figured out what the noise that I kept hearing was. It's the balloons on the side.
Yeah, you're
So,
right.
yeah.
You're right. Because we like get the front door open.
Yeah, which is nice. It's such a nice day outside.
Oh yeah.
I love spring in this area.
So where do y'all live right now?
We're in Atlanta.
Okay. Where in Atlanta are you at?
Close to downtown.
Okay. Yeah, I've got.
5 minutes from downtown.
Yeah, I've got some friends of mine that are investing in like the west side.
While he's doing that, I'm going to go check out the basement because I haven't done it yet.
Talking earlier, a lot of those houses are so small. It's hard. But y'all check out the upstairs. Let me know what you think about the upstairs when we start coming down. Again, it's got the basement also.
I hadn't seen the basement yet, so I had to go check it out.
I'll grab me some snacks. I gotta make sure to grab something that doesn't make my fingers all
Oh,
so weak.
then don't grab the Cheetos.
Honey barbecue Fritos. I've never had these before. Okay, if I have a little crunch in the mic.
He asked that as he's crunching.
You want maybe a Coke or a Sprite?
Let's go soda, Coke.
Coke. By the way, this is not a soda. It's a-
No, it's Atlanta. It's a Coke.
It's a Coke. No, it's a Coke.
No.
And you're from Georgia, so you can't say soda.
You know, so the three of us,
Coca-Cola. There's Coca-Cola everywhere. Never a soda, never a pop. I'm just saying.
Yeah, that was just a commercial thing.
so the three of us are basically from Georgia.
Correct.
I mean,
aren't you north of Gainesville? Is that where you're from?
Yeah, Haversham County is where I grew up at.
That's why his accent's just a little different. Habersham is a little different accent.
See, this is city accent where I came from. There's some really heavy accents.
That's true. That's true. The only place I've ever been accused of having a Southern accent is in New York City.
So I went to El Salvador, I think it was 2006, for a mission trip. And I know very little Spanish, but I was able to talk a little bit. I was at a restaurant. A lady comes up to me and she says, "Are you from Georgia?" I'm like,
What?
"How did you know?" She said, "I can tell by your accent." I'm like, "Really? You can tell I'm from the state of Georgia with my accent?" She said, "Oh, no, the country."
Oh,
So apparently my Spanish was so choppy. She said it's like Russian or Georgian. I'm like, that's actually kind of funny.
it is funny.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. So, and I
That's
enjoyed
true.
that. That was a great trip. That was a lot of fun. So, like
No,
that.
no, thank you.
Good. So what else? Anybody else online, Nate, that have a
So,
question?
since you're eating and speaking of food, like what type of areas do we have outdoors? Is there an area that we can build a kitchen or grill out, grill area, fire pit? Let's talk about this immaculate yard. They can't see it online, but it's huge.
It's
It's
huge.
got a little wooded island out there. I mean, just lots of potential.
And that privacy fence is awesome.
Yeah, there's privacy fence that goes around the entire house.
Yep.
You could definitely put a nice sized grill right outside right here.
Mm-hmm. On this deck right
now,
here.
So they had a very big table, chairs, and umbrella. I wouldn't do the grill and that because it'd be too much. But growing like a circular, one of the smaller tables, I think that would be great.
Mhm.
The yard, again, because it's so flat, you can easily put, like a fire pit out there with some, what do they call it, Adriatic chairs. Is that what they're called?
Adirondack.
Adirondack, yeah, that was close.
Close enough.
Yeah, so, but then, yeah,
I mean-
that'd be kind of cool. You could, if you want to do like a paver area, and put like, one of those heaters on there, that'd be kind of
Well,
cool.
and it is kind of 2-level too. So, we were talking earlier, maybe put the garden up here, and then you could down here on this side, there's plenty of room for either kids to play or a fire pit or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's actually more on level with the walkout, downstairs in the basement that I saw.
Well, and again, because the neighbors are so friendly.
Yeah.
They'd be like coming over and saying, "Hey, let's hang out."
They
I mean, they would.
were super nice.
Mhm.
They were really nice.
But you better hurry because I think they're trying to find somebody to buy this house. But
Well, it's always nice to pick your neighbors.
100%,
Oh.
I agree. But yeah, beautiful trees.
Mhm.
Um,
And they're not all pine. There's definitely hardwoods out there, which is nice because in Georgia, everything's a pine.
it doesn't snow often in Georgia, but I would love to see snow cover on that yard.
Okay, so my family is from West Virginia. Now I grew up here, but my family's from West Virginia. If it did snow, you could sled from that side to that side.
You could, because it slopes just a little bit up
Yeah.
here.
Exactly.
Flattens out just a smidge.
Yeah.
But it does slope just enough, kind of closer to the house.
Yeah.
Further back, it's a little more flat.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're 100% right.
And it's not,
Definitely could build a ton of snowmen off of that hill. If you kind of rolled a couple of
Mhm.
snowballs, you could have easily 6, 7 snowmen.
and it's the cool thing about it is that whole yard is not sloped,
Mhm.
right? I mean, it definitely does slope, but it's flat and then it's flat again. So it's not like this,
Right.
right? Super usable,
Yep, I agree.
which you don't always see when you see a sloped yard.
Again, houses nowadays do not have big yards.
No, they
just
don't. No, they don't.
So, whoever, I wish I knew who developed this subdivision, but they really thought out, okay, we want to make sure everybody has
Mhm.
ample yard space to enjoy family and
Sure.
building it out.
I like that too.
Yeah.
What y'all think about the basement?
We gotta make it 20.
Uh-huh. So I stubbed out for a bathroom. You get another
Yeah,
bedroom down
that's what
there,
I'm
get another living room down there. You could definitely do quite a bit down there.
I like it.
It's another one for my books, because I have a lot of books.
All right, so what's
It's a
your
dying
top
art.
three books? Are you more of a fiction or nonfiction?
I read everything.
Okay, awesome. All right, so what's your favorite nonfiction book?
Today.
Yeah. Oh, just the first one comes to mind.
Favorite.
First one comes to mind.
That's a lot. My favorite author right now is, what's his name? I wouldn't
I hate when that
know,
happens to me.
ask me.
See, I hate when that happens to me.
I
It's James Patterson.
Oh, yeah.
So I've read a lot of Alex Cross early on,
Mhm.
and then stopped. And then one of my neighbors gave me one of his recent books. And I think I've missed like the last 8.
Mhm.
So I went to Second Charles and bought some more. And the cool thing with James Patterson's is you can read a chapter in like 3 minutes and be done,
Yes.
Right.
or you can read for 30 minutes and be like deep in.
Yes.
So
Right.
I love,
Mhm.
and the Alex Cross series are probably my favorite. Then what's the other ones that it's like 3 or 4 women, and it's always like first, second, third, whatever.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I remember that one.
Mhm. And a lot of his books is a bookstore in Chattanooga. I get all my books at
Mhm.
Kay's bookstore.
Oh, that's awesome.
And so, yeah, so I drive up there to get my books.
So have you heard of Second Charles in Kennesaw?
No.
It's it is kind of cool because it's
Let me
got
take note of that so we can go to it.
so it's used books, comic books. They got some vinyl. I might have bought one vinyl there because vinyl got really expensive.
Mhm.
There's a few antique places on something that got vinyl kind of cheap. Old toys, but it's probably an 80% bookstore.
Oh, cool.
So, and I'll bring a lot of the books that I know I'll never read again. I'll bring them in, they'll give you credit to get started.
They
That's how
do.
my case is, but I reread my books.
Yep.
So there's, I would say it's probably about 100 to 150 books that I'll never trade in. But then there's some, because used to, like, I read it as mine. But that got to the point where I was like, okay, if I'm not going to reread it, it's kind of taking up space. So, but I've got like, I don't know if you ever read Mitch Albom. He did Tuesdays with Morning. All his books are phenomenal. So, in fact, when I was in college and Tuesdays with Morning came out, back to write an author like him, and he wrote me back. It was all, and that was a movie, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And he's on a lot of great books. So, and I've gotten a lot into, some of the business books lately also. You do them to kind of learn business, but I love like James Patterson because it allows me to get away from life. Whether it be for 3 minutes or 3 hours, I can get away from life.
Right.
So I love that.
I like him as an author too.
But y'all check it up the upstairs. Let me know what y'all think. So even though the Fritos still had a little bit.
Not too bad.
But that's all right. I'll put that right there. Yeah, I didn't really start reading until college because I didn't really enjoy it.
Right.
And then in college, I took a class on, oh God, I just had a brain fart myself. For Whom the Bell Tolls. Hemingway. Ernest
Yes.
Hemingway. And it was actually just like a 2-hour credit course. But and I really enjoyed it.
Right.
They were good books, and and somebody was kind of helping me explain some of the stuff and some of the era.
Right.
And so that's when I was like, this reading thing's actually pretty cool. And then I read Tuesdays with Morrie and wrote him. And that story, if y'all don't know, is about he had a professor he liked in college, graduated, and then just kind of went on the go. And it really is a story more about Mitch, like going into business and going into what is he? He was like a sports broadcaster, sports journalist, whatever.
Right.
And he found out that Morrie had a fatal disease,
Okay.
and it forced him to kind of slow down.
Sure.
And so that's also that kind of reminds me of a professor that I was connected with,
Mhm.
and I always kind of keep in mind not to get going too fast, which I still do sometimes. But I'll probably reread that book every year because it's a good one.
Nice.
Again, a quick read. But I mean, every time he's got a book comes out, I actually pre-order a signed version of it.
Oh, nice.
I always got in fact, I also one of the kids I used to coach that at one point I gave him one, loved it. He loves reading too, so I get me one and give him one. So I
Nice.
get two.
Awesome.
So yep. So no more about books, unless you got a book you want. What's your favorite?
No, I'm not reading right now.
Okay. I have to do a little bit of distraction. Otherwise, I'll get stuck on TikTok and YouTube.
I've been doing like word crosswords, things like that to get
Hey, at least
out
it
of my
keeps your
own
brain
head.
going.
Yeah.
So we're about 3 minutes away from an hour and a half. Do you want to tell the viewing audience how they can get in contact with you, what your websites are, social handles, whatever?
All right. So the best way to get in touch with me, you can call me 404-643-7417, but don't spam me on the phone. Also, if you're selling insurance or some crap like that, don't be texting or calling. And I've already got 2 or 3 great mortgage people, Cheryl being one of them. So don't call me about mortgage stuff either. I've got some people I like dealing with. And with that being said, when you have a team,
That's right.
it's all about relationship. Cheryl put something on Facebook on Wednesday. Hey, who's the coming soons?
Right.
And I put something in there, and like 3 minutes later, it's like, where's it at? How much is it?
Right.
And I tell her, and she's like, all right, I'll come on Sunday. So that was, first of all, thank you for that.
Sure. Well, and the reason I do that is because we do have pre-approved buyers in our pipeline that are sitting there waiting, and this market is so challenging. You got to be there first. So I use my team and my connections to get the coming soon, so that I can share them with my clients, right? So that
That's
they get
awesome.
a little bit of a leg up,
Yeah.
right? They're not waiting for it to hit the market, and then they're the 10th person to see it.
Correct.
Hopefully, they're like first,
Yep.
right? So
I agree.
that's really what we do.
But yeah, so my website is jf.properties. So I do a lot of different cities. So I've got Woodstock, Canton, Alpharetta, Roswell. Powder Springs is a little bit out of my stretch, but very good friend of mine wanted to sell the house. I'm somewhat familiar with Powder Springs, so I want to help him out. So that was great. Obviously at Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram. I don't really do a whole lot with TikTok. maybe in the near future I
You
will.
don't dance, like do any
No.
challenges?
No. Don't do that.
No.
Yeah, exactly. So, but really the website, and then, I've got a Compass website as well. So if you look at Jason Fleeman Compass, that'll take you to a website as well. So you've got multiple ways of getting a hold of me. And then Cheryl, I mean, I know you've got Facebook, LinkedIn,
Right.
Instagram.
So Cheryl Capelli, that's 2 P's, 2 L's. That's
Mhm.
hard to remember sometimes. And I'm with the Family Mortgage Team, and our website is really a lot easier than that. It's familyga.com. That's it.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's a lot easier than that. We've had it a long time. And the office is in Marietta. So you can actually come in and walk in my office. We're not like one of these online lenders where you can't talk to anybody, hold anybody accountable, things like that. So our office is in Marietta, but we do the entire state, but we also do South Carolina, Florida, Alabama, and Texas.
I will say that there's something, and I know some people that work for the larger corporations, I get it, but really having a true local lender,
Right.
that you're not talking to 12 people. It's like they know that, okay, when I call Cheryl, Cheryl's going to answer.
Right.
And she's going to find me the team member that can help me the most.
Right. So speaking of calling, my phone number is 678-483-3300. And you can work for one of those really big companies and still be a local lender.
You can.
Right. So it's really the persona and what they're committed to.
Right.
Right.
The main thing, because again, there are, and I'm not going to mention any names, but you're calling to check on the status of your loan, and you get a different person each time.
Right. Yeah, we don't do that.
And you're hoping that they put the right notes in. Otherwise, you've got to re-explain yourself time and time and time again.
I rescue loans like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's just because they work for and banks, and so banks are that way. But banks, their primary thing is bank. They only do mortgages because their clients want it. So it doesn't. They don't keep their staff as long. Like I've been there since 2005. The person that's been there the least has been there 5 years.
Oh wow.
So
Okay.
So yeah, we're pretty tight knit family.
Yeah. So a couple things. One that popped in my head because I remember one point you were mentioning. We talked about HomeBot. Do y'all still do the HomeBot thing?
We do HomeBot. I love it.
And another person's mentioned to me. I was like, well, if I do that, I need to call Cheryl. But tell a little bit about HomeBot because it's kind of a cool feature. It's a cool thing.
Right. So HomeBot is a service that we provide to all of our clients. So as soon as they close, they get an invite to HomeBot. And HomeBot is really just an all-in-one home evaluation and equity tracking tool. So every month it sends you what they call the digest, and it gives you the value of your home, and it also tracks your mortgage, assuming that you make the payments the way you're. Now there are ways to fix that inside. So let's say you get a raise and you want to pay an extra $500 a month. You can tell it that that's what you're going to do, and it will then spit out. Well, you're going to save X amount in interest, and you're going to be able to close, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years sooner.
Right.
Or you're going to be able to pay off that mortgage.
So cool. It's like an AI utility. For your home.
100%. And what, we were talking about here, you could Airbnb this for 6 months, right? So if you did the basement, you can Airbnb it for 6 months. You can put that calculation in and it'll spit out how that will help you.
Interesting.
So, yeah.
And so even if you don't use HomeBot, which is awesome, because you can put like your appliances in. There's so much stuff you can put in there.
Right.
But there's one tip, and I want your confirmation or tell me if I'm wrong. But if you make half your mortgage payment every 2 weeks,
right,
instead of one mortgage payment a month, but if you make half your mortgage payment every 2 weeks,
right,
you pay it off in 22 and a half years, roughly.
You save generally around 7 years, and it's really it's the same payment every month, but you're making one extra payment a year.
Correct.
Because you're making 13 payments a year instead of 12.
Correct.
So.
Correct. All right. So how about give me your feedback on the upstairs? What was the master bedroom not the big?
They were up there a while.
Yeah. In the closet.
They want to come tell the people online.
All right. So
what
you
they
got
thought
to tell
about
the people online what you like most about the house. Give some feedback. Come on.
And just confidentially, I like the closet the best too. I was like, are you kidding me? They can have all my things.
Well, my favorite is the yard because I want garden. It's private
Right.
and you're not sharing the yard.
Well, right. And you told me there's people back there, but you can't see them.
Right.
which
Yeah,
is
there's
great.
There's a backyard, somebody else's backyard beyond the fence.
Right.
But you don't see it. You know what I'm saying? Because of the trees and because of the size of the yard are so big.
Right.
So, I mean, to be honest with you, this is either average on the small side for the yard.
Mhm.
I mean, I think that these people right here is, I want to say like 0.65. And then there's a guy up in the corner, when you first kind of come around that first corner, you saw the house like, that's like an acre and a half. So
How much is this one, did you say?
475. Oh, the acreage?
No, the acreage.
Acreage is right at half an acre, maybe a little bit more than half an acre.
Okay.
Give us a lot of space.
Yes.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
A lot.
I love the kitchen. The master bedroom is like really big. Bathroom is perfect. It's great.
Everything's perfect.
I know.
I don't think
Even
I
the
know.
So-
second bedroom
So
is
Jason will be
fine.
taking your offer now.
All right, so she was about to mention the second bedroom, so tell me what
sorry.
you think about the second bedrooms.
They're spacious, they're big, the closet's a great space. I can see the guest room up there, a reading room up there,
Mhm.
my son's room up there. I can see a lot of stuff up there.
Right.
But and that was,
It's
and
really
that was, I
spacious
mean,
up there.
all the bedrooms are good size.
Yes, they are.
I mean, a lot of houses that I've, whether it be a listing or I'm showing somebody, you know, sometimes if you get one bigger bedroom, it sacrifices another.
Mhm.
So it's
Right,
almost like you get a bigger bedroom, and then this was for the baby.
yeah.
Man, I love that all of those are huge. Well, I don't want to say
Yeah.
huge, but they're very, very good size.
Yes,
They are.
space
Very
rooms,
good size.
yes.
So it doesn't matter. I mean, we had a family of 5 girls come in, and granted, they may have to share a little bit until they finish the basement, but they were like, where they're staying, it's kind of cramped.
Mhm.
So they like having, if they have to share a bedroom, it's a good size.
Yes,
Very
it's a
good
good size room.
I
For
still
sure.
like the idea of the master right over there.
I
Yeah.
know,
Yes.
well, see, that's how I mentioned to Nate and the people that you could convert it, unless you use the dining room a lot, you can actually make a master bedroom.
Right.
Because right here, from a plumbing standpoint, okay, all the plumbing right there, you got access from the basement, but you can put the bathroom, you put a master bathroom right here.
Right.
Close that off, okay, you could even extend the pantry if you wanted to, okay? So you got a closet here, unless you just want a coat closet, you make a closet right here.
Right.
And this entire area is okay, and all you do is put, frame up the walls. And then, see, maybe a door right here or something like that, like a barn door, or however you want to do it. I don't know, that's a barn door. But if you could literally, this could be a master home name.
Yes.
Master, closet, master bedroom, bathroom, and close it all. And so,
Okay.
unless you want to go from the bathroom to the kitchen, I'd rather go right.
Yeah.
So, okay, I mean, you don't change the square footage. You do change the value, because the house is 5 bedroom, 3.5 bedroom,
Right.
instead of a 4 bedroom.
Right.
You gotta be okay to have that. You're okay to have a dining room? That's it. Except Thanksgiving?
But this
Yes.
kind of yard, you can eat outside, right? You can have a filled on sunroom, whatever.
Right. Well,
Eating area, flex room, eating area.
well, we were talking about using the dining room.
What's that?
We were talking about using the dining room only at Christmas and Thanksgiving. And I'm like, well, the last, I don't know, 5 or 7 years, we've had Christmas and Thanksgiving outside.
Right.
It's been too warm to stay inside. So,
Totally makes sense, right?
well, and when you have 25 people arrive at your house, it's a whole lot easier to put them outside than in one room. Because even a dining room doesn't fit 25 people. Just saying.
Right. Makes sense.
So,
I do think that they need to close on some of the projects for 30 to 45 days. So if you want to do that early, you know. All right. Well, I appreciate you guys coming by. Very nice meeting you. Thanks for being on the video with me.
Somebody's gotta make them look
We've got
good.
3 or 4 house crossroads that don't have, so I'm going to get one. I hate when I blow books out.
Yes.
That gets on me. As long as if I give it away or I sell it, that's one thing. I'm like, I need it back. Don't be minded of it either.
I know.
Right on the page.
Exactly, yeah, that too, yeah, here's a bookmark. Don't mess with my book. All right, thank you guys, I appreciate it. Have a good one.
Awesome.
All right, Jesse, you wanna, hold on. Uh-oh. All right.
So they definitely like the idea of maybe converting a master. Honestly, I don't think it'd be, I mean, you'd have to do, the bathroom would be the money.
Right.
It probably costs about 12 to 15 to do. Framing out the bedroom, I
That's
don't think
easy.
that
Mm,
expensive.
No.
So, I mean, closing off that door and putting the door on the other side.
Yep.
But, I mean, I would probably think 20,000 all in and you got a master on the main.
Mhm.
So.
Be
that'd
nice.
Awesome. Yep.
All right, so tell us about all the cool things coming up, what we're doing with living in North Georgia,
Ooh.
and how they can subscribe and stay in contact with us.
So yeah, so we got a YouTube channel, Living in North Georgia YouTube. So make sure you hit subscribe, like all the things that you hear
Right.
10 million other people say. I say it also. So yeah, make sure you like it, subscribe, share, notify. What else can you do? So comment. Oh yeah,
There you
definitely.
go.
Comments help out a
And
lot.
questions, what would they like to see in the next live open house? What kind of,
So yeah, so we've done a few open house lives now. One we did in Alpharetta. That house sold for $495, so we got listing price for that. Was really happy with that. And this one in Powder Springs. So yeah, what more do you guys want to see? I mean, what areas you want to see? So we do a lot of stuff in Woodstock, Canton, Alpharetta, Roswell, East Cobb. Trying to think of what Cumming, Milton.
Sure.
All those.
Do you have any
areas.
listings coming up?
I actually do. So I've got one coming up in DeKalb.
Oh,
So it's actually a childhood friend.
nice.
So his brother and my brother his brother and I were best friends from like the age of 5 to about 12.
Mhm.
And then they moved to Beaufort, South Carolina.
Okay.
And we end up kind of reconnecting through Facebook and stuff like that. But,
Sure.
So that house needs a little bit of work, but I'm looking forward to kind of seeing what's going to come with that one. And then I've got a couple people looking at some houses specifically in East Cobb. They love the schools in East Cobb.
Great
young,
area.
Very young family.
I grew up there.
Yeah, very young family. Have a 2-year-old
Mhm.
and a super sweet family. And I got people looking in Ackworth because they love the Harrison School District.
Sure.
So yeah, if you any listings in that area, if you're thinking about selling that area, let me know. I mean, I'm a native. I was born in Kennestone,
Right.
Kennestone Hospital. I mean, I've seen all these areas grow. I remember when Woodstock was Podunkville. A friend of
Right.
mine had like a little country kitchen in one of those little old places, and now it's blown up. Alpharetta's the same thing. Alpharetta used to be in the middle of East Bumble,
Yeah, for sure.
and now it's blown up. I mean, there's something going on in Alpharetta almost every day.
Yep.
So
Do me a favor. Tell
Yes.
me when you get it ready, tell me the address for that house in DeKalb.
definitely
Because we have a special program for people in DeKalb,
awesome.
and it's a $5,000 grant program.
Okay.
But it is first-time home buyers only.
Okay.
And it is primary residence only.
Okay.
Not everybody qualifies,
Yeah,
but it's an option.
Yeah, I think so. Joe lives in Miami,
Mhm.
and he's been renting it for like the last 6 or 7 years.
Mhm.
His daughter got accepted to I think FSU, so
nice.
they're wanting to sell the house, kind of
Mhm.
actually not to help with school because I think she got a scholarship, but to buy a house for her in
Sure.
that area.
So smart.
Yeah.
So smart.
Yeah.
Buy a house instead of renting.
Yep.
Or paying extra for, college dorms or whatever.
But I will.
So-
In fact, I'm supposed to actually go look at it Tuesday,
Okay.
just to kind of see if any work needs to be done to it.
So that particular program with the $5,000 grant, and it's basically $5,000 free to qualifying home buyers,
Okay.
right? There's no payback period, none of that.
All right, so
But it's address specific,
okay.
or it's census tract specific,
Right.
basically. So
Okay. So let's say we list it for $375. I'm just making a number up.
Mhm.
So they get $5,000 of free money.
Mhm.
So it could be a
Closing costs.
370 closing cost. I was about to say,
So
what can that 5,000
closing
go towards?
costs, they can permanently buy down the interest rate because we all know that interest rates are what most people would call crazy. I would call them normal,
I was about to say they are normal. Right?
but most people would call crazy because that's just what they've heard over the last 5 or 10 years. But so closing costs, repairs, buying down the interest rate, even as a down payment.
Okay, that's awesome.
So census tract driven, must be a first time home buyer, must be owner occupied.
Okay. Also, by the way, I didn't mention it before, but Cheryl actually you're an expert in some VA loan stuff too.
I am.
Because you've done a lot of stuff like that. So one of the loans we
Yes.
did with you, 2.5 years ago, with,
Right.
with, I don't want to mention the name in case I don't want to be mentioned.
Right.
But working with them, I mean, and got a VA background.
So VA loans tend to have a bad connotation, but to be honest, I think it's one of the best products out there. I mean, where else can you get a zero down payment? And you are working with a governing body that wants to make sure that their veterans get into a safe home and as quickly as possible. So it's, and then and because they want to make sure that veterans get into homes, there's one of the biggest objections to VA loans is the appraisal.
Right.
So if you just remember that it's safety oriented. So this house in particular, as I was walking around, I noticed things that would a VA appraiser would look at would be like, there's 2 railings on this staircase. That's awesome.
So a vet owns the home.
Really?
Yep.
See?
This is a vet owned home.
So it's pretty minor, right? It's not like it's craziness. Everybody's like, oh, we have to fix everything. Well, no. If you just remember that it has to be safe for the veteran, because the VA wants to make sure that they have a safe living situation. That's really their whole goal. And then even if it comes in a little under or it doesn't appraise for the right price, there is, unlike a lot of different programs, there is a way to rebut that appraisal.
Okay. I didn't know
It's called
that.
Tidewater.
Okay. Okay.
Yep.
Well, and I've worked with a couple of different VA loans myself. I'm not going to say they're scary. It's just you need to have the right person to educate on them.
100%.
That's so, you know, whether it be you or you know, the 1 or 2 other mortgage people I've worked with, it's all about education.
Right.
You know, if your mortgage person or your realtor is not educating you along the process, they're not doing their job.
Well, and I will say that there's a lot of very well-known lenders that bill themselves as VA experts, and they're not. And so the one thing that I would say is that if you're getting a VA loan, make 100% sure before you walk out with that pre-approval letter is that your lender has pulled your COE. So
what is the COE for those people that don't know?
So the COE is the document that says that you're allowed to get a VA loan. And you can have more than one.
Interesting.
Yep. You do not have to just have one. But that document is the one that tells you how much you either don't have to put down or you do have to put down, or that you actually served enough time to be able to use the VA loan. And so if they walk out the door with a pre-approval and nobody's pulled that COE, then they really don't have a pre-approval because we really have no idea.
Right.
And it happens way more often than you think.
So I'm glad we brought up vets. So again, this is a vet-owned home.
Perfect.
Myself and Nate and Zach Knight actually started ATL Vets as a tactical line.
Okay.
We also work advanced line, tactical line, advanced line. So I apologize for that. But and we also work a lot with Vetlanta as kind of a charter type of thing. But anyway, the ATL Vets thing, the nonprofit is set up to help vets who want to start a small business.
Oh, perfect.
So it's really about, okay, how can we bring small business community and the vets together? So that's why, I mean, the vet piece is huge.
That is huge.
And I've actually been at a Vetlanta event where there was another mortgage company there, and people came up and they're asking about it, and the vets truly didn't know. They truly had no idea.
It really happens more often than you think. There is a lot of money being thrown behind advertising for some of these big name banks that cater to vets, that the people that they hire don't understand the program. And it's very sad because I rescue a lot of those too. You know, where we were supposed to close last week and we couldn't because nobody ever pulled the COE. And COEs have problems, right? But they're fixable a lot of times.
Right.
But if you don't know how to fix them, then you've got somebody floundering around there. Right. So
and if you want to make an offer on this house, VA loan's acceptable.
Awesome.
I mean, cash, FHA, conventional VA.
Right. I think the only thing not available here is USDA.
Yeah. So, but I mean, I see a lot of homes on the market that says, no VA, and
right.
really that's a shame.
Right.
And I think it's just because they're trying to avoid that appraisal.
Well, it's just the lack of education,
Right.
really. It's just the lack of knowledge is all. And it's just like any misinformation. Somebody picks it up and just runs with it and just tells everybody about it, and then the misinformation just keeps getting, passed along. So.
All right. So
But-
other things that we can have, or we do, so beyond the transaction. So I do a workshop once a month. It's always the first Wednesday of the month. And then we do a mixer the third Tuesday of the month at the Buckhead Club, and it's free. Okay. So and you don't have to be a member. Okay. So it's free. They validate parking.
Okay.
They provide light hors d'oeuvres. It's usually from 5 to 7.
Okay.
I call it a hybrid event because we have just like a panel for about 30 to 40 minutes.
Okay.
This upcoming Tuesday, we're doing multifamily investing.
Oh,
so
nice.
We got some multifamily people doing it. Next month, we've got, it's funny that one of the ladies I've got on the panel is like Beyond the Table, which is essentially what we're talking about. Because once you're at the closing table, a lot of realtors, no shaming, it's just how it is. They get their check at transaction.
Lenders do the same thing. Lenders do the same thing.
And my big piece, because I've been in a relationship business so long with tennis, it's like, okay, it's more almost after the transaction than it is during the transaction.
And that's why I like working with agents like you, is that because it's not just about getting them to the closing table and then going, hey, good luck, here's your keys, enjoy home ownership, right? I mean, because there's so much more that goes to home ownership, right? I mean, if you're a first-time home buyer and you walk into a house, now this house is 5 years old, right? So there's not a ton of stuff to do to it. But do you know that you have to change the filter on the furnace maybe once a month, right? Do you know those things? Most people don't know those things. So it's really important to stay in touch with them. So
well, and quick story, because I know we got to get. But so I did a closing with some friends of mine, and that's another thing is I don't have clients after I start helping them.
They're friends. Yes.
But they closed on the house in November, and I called them a couple of weeks, Thanksgiving, Merry Christmas. And after New Year's, I gave them a call and said, hey, did you have a good New Year's? Well, we didn't have a good New Year's because the house flooded. I'm like, what? And she's like, yeah, the house flooded 2 weeks ago. I'm like, it flooded 2 weeks ago, and I'm just now finding out about it. And she's like, well, I didn't think to call you. And I was like, I know as much about the house as you do.
Right. Exactly.
I know all the contract. I mean, all the people that need to help you.
Right.
And I gave her a bunch of names and numbers and contacts. And she had a couple of proposals already, but she ended up using all my people that I sent to her because I'd already vetted them. They're people that I knew. But I told her, I said, anything ever happens to that house, I'm the first call. If I can't help you, I'll find somebody who can.
Right.
So, and they'd moved here from Chicago, but she's like, I didn't think realtors do that. I'm like, a good realtor always will.
100%.
Because again, I know your kids, I know you. I mean, I know your in-laws and family came in town for a few days.
And aside from that, you've lived here all your life, right? I tell my clients the same thing. If you're moving in from somewhere else, you need anything, you need a chiropractor, you need a baker, you need a laundromat, you need whatever, call me, right? Why not call you?
Yep, I agree.
So,
well, guys, we appreciate. First of all, Cheryl, thank you so much.
Oh, thanks for having me.
I appreciate it.
I had a good time.
Thank you guys for watching. If there was a way for y'all to come through the camera to get some snacks, I would really appreciate it, but it's probably not going to happen.
I'm not taking any home.
Okay, so that means more Ghirardelli chocolate for me. I'll have to spread it out over a couple of days. But yeah, be on the lookout for our next open house live. So we do them kind of all over. We've done Alpharetta, we've done Powder Springs. We're bound to do Woodstock, East Cobb, part of Canton, Ball Ground. If you got one that's coming up that you want us to do with you, just let us know. Okay. So my thing is I'm with Compass, but if you've got one that you want us to do an open house live with, let's do it.
Okay.
Because I mean it's better for the consumer.
100%.
I mean, and there's a lot of people moving to Georgia.
So many.
And they can't always drive here to look at it. So if we can do an open house live for them and walk around the house, let's do it.
Awesome. So, I love it.
All right. Thank you.
It's a good idea.
And as always, thanks to Nate Sampson with Social Pro Video. As I said earlier, if the video has crappy quality, I have done it. If it's good quality, that means he has done it.
Perfect.
So any video needs that you guys need, I mean, keep in mind, he's top of the top, cream of the crop. So that should be your new saying, by the way. Make sure you reach out to me.
Nate's shaking his head, by the way. You can't see him back there, but he's going, no.
But that was still pretty good. You top of the top, cream of the crop. That's pretty
I like
good.
it. I like
All right. See you guys. Y'all have a great one.
it. Thanks.
We golden.